In 2017, a friend of mine offered to do my family tree. From there, I learned that my lineage goes as far back as 1581, when a merchant named Stephen Hopkins was born. I learned that Stephen Hopkins was born in Hampshire, England in 1581. He married a woman named Mary, and they had 3 kids, Elizabeth, Constance, and Gilles. What makes Stephen a significant part of history is that he sailed to the Americas a decade before the Mayflower. He also allegedly signed the Mayflower Compact, but there's no proof that he did or didn't. The first photo is of the signing of the Mayflower Compact, and Stephen Hopkins was present. As stated, there are some discrepancies as to whether or not Stephen signed the compact. The compact was signed aboard the Mayflower in 1620. This was one of the most significant events in history because it was the first governing document of the Plymouth Colony. The Plymouth Colony is the second colony after Jamestown, which Stephen had been 10 years prior. The first picture is also the cover of a book written by Jonathan Mack entitled A Stranger Among Saints. Stephen Hopkins, the man who survived Jamestown and saved Plymouth. The first trip Stephen made to the Americas was headed to Jamestown, Virginia, but blew off course due to a hurricane and their ship, the Sea Venture, crashing in Bermuda. The shipwreck became a huge story in London. It also inspired William Shakespeare to write a play called The Tempest. After repairing the Sea Venture, they made it back on course to Jamestown. The Sea Venture had supplies and medicine. When they arrived at Jamestown, they noticed that it had been ravaged by illness. Stephen stayed in Jamestown for 4 years, then sailed back to England for more supplies. This photo at the top is of Stephen in one of his many treaties he had with the Native American Indians. Because of Stephen's role in the settlement of the Plymouth, he was given 6 acres of land in Plymouth, where he spent the remaining days of his life with his wife and children. Stephen Hopkins died in June of 1644. The photos below are the depiction of his home, and next to that photo is Hopkins' coat of arms. This lineage is from my mother's side of the family, which are white individuals in my family tree. Another significant person in my tree on the same side of the family is Penelope Stout. But Stephen seems to be one of the earliest people I could track back. I don't know much about my father's side of the family, who is African American, but what I do know about the family is that they were raised in the South, and after the Civil War is when they came north. Escaping enslavement, they changed their last name from the spelling of Peak, P-E-E-K, to my maiden name, which is Peak, P-E-A-K, so they could not be found.